Hello and welcome to the Mature Muscle podcast. Let's start that again. Hello and welcome to Mature Muscle podcast. This is season 4 and we're on episode 9. We're going to talk about a lot that's been going on in the news. If you've been watching about Ozempic and Mounjaro, or the skinny jab as it's more commonly known. I'm right here with Aaron. How are you doing, Aaron?
Good, thank you, my man. You?
Yeah, very good. Have you had any experience with or clients?
Been taken, haven't I?
Yeah, thought you had dropped a pound or two. And have you seen anything in your client base or in your gym?
I know a couple of people are taking it, but mainly, maybe this is a bad thing to say, but I think those that are probably taking it aren't going to the gym or training with a PT.
Oh, really?
So I don't have I know of 1 or 2 people that have done it or are doing it in the gym, outside the gym more, but I don't know, you?
Yeah, I've got a couple of people at the gym I know are taking it and they've had great results. Quite right. I'm not obviously mentioning any names, but it's fairly
looking great.
Yeah, it's fairly clear that having seen them for years and always battled with dropping any weight, and then they've miraculously all of a sudden managed to nail it. So and fair play to them. Absolutely no judgmental comments there. But my issue really is, we'll cover it in a bit, is what happens when you stop. As with anything. But just wanted to really talk about what we are talking about, which is, in case you don't know what the hell we're talking about, is there is a jab now you can get through the NHS and privately, which costs you a lot of money if you want to go privately, which you inject subcutaneous into the fat, normally around the abdomen, which you take once a week or is administered once a week, and will give you quite amazing fat loss, but not because it does something to your body.
You need to rewind the term. It's weight loss.
Sorry. Okay.
It's weight loss.
Okay. No, that's good. That's a good point. That's a good point, because you do lose muscle as well. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for correcting me.
The last time I looked, if you're between like 40 and 50, you're going to lose about 40% of your muscle mass. Whereas if you just did a normal calorie restricted diet, it's the maximum you'll probably lose with weight training, I guess, is around 20%. So you're almost doubling your speed of muscle loss.
Right. Okay.
So technically it's not fat. So if you lose a kilo, half of it might be fat, but half of it's going to be muscle.
Okay. Well, So once you've had your jab, your weekly jab, then what tends to happen is you get, as an effect, it's a hormonal effect basically. That's the easiest way to say it. Is it doesn't kill it, reduces your hunger, so your appetite drops, and you get some changes with blood sugar, which is not fully kind of understood yet. So that's why it was originally developed. It was for a diabetes drug, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. And then they started noticing that people who were taking this drug started losing significant amounts of weight. So, never being one to miss a trick, they thought of remarketing it.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Just like they did with Botox.
I've never seen so many people take it, or heard of people taking it. Like, I've never seen a drug like this in my time that everyone's getting on. I've seen like the skinny teas, and a few people try it, or a few people try this, a few people try that. But this is a different level.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people are taking it that don't even need it, but also I think like it just seems to be like every other person knows someone, or actually everyone knows somebody that is taking it. Or
yeah. Well, think about it, right? When you think about what's number one goal, if somebody goes to the gym, it's to lose weight and do it without too much pain.
Oh yeah.
And so this is as close as you're going to get, I think, as a magic bullet. Certainly on the face of it. I'm not saying it is, because as we're going to talk about in a bit, there are some downsides to it. But you think about it as if someone's been struggling for years and years and years, so they can't give up the pizza, then this is fantastic, because it does numb that appetite, so you haven't got. But also, it kind of makes a bit of a mockery of this whole thing. For years and years and years, as personal trainers, we've been told you shouldn't be fattest because people are struggling with they've got a low metabolic rate and blah 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 and
That's why.
So
all people's everyone's problems are now disappeared. You
Yeah.
don't hear of like I can't lose weight because of this, or my metabolism, or my genetics.
It's my thyroid.
Yeah, like
My
that's all
thyroid.
disappeared because
Yeah.
now this has come out.
Yeah.
They realise actually if I just stop eating,
Yeah.
I will lose weight.
Will lose weight,
So
exactly.
actually, it's quite a good thing on that point where everyone's illnesses or why they can't lose weight is now gone.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden this jab is making them lose weight. So actually, it's just it's a lack of interest in food, but also it slows your stomach emptying, so you're going to feel fuller for longer.
Yeah.
And it reduces your appetite. So essentially, all those things that you said in your whole life before that you couldn't lose weight, actually were just made
Bollocks.
up. Yeah. All those other things, your thyroid, your metabolism, and your genetics, and your
Yeah.
dad's uncle, and
I'm big boned.
yeah. Oh, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I don't want to sound mocking, but it is. But we have, as personal trainers and as
I'm not mocking it. If it
no,
helps
no,
you.
I'm not either
If it
really.
helps you.
But
But I am at the same time.
But we also are a little bit
Yeah.
because it's something we've heard non-stop.
Yeah.
For the last 30 years is I can't lose weight.
I-
I've tried every diet.
And I know polycystic ovaries is is painful as well and stuff like that. But that's another one. And I can't reduce my weight because of these or that. And it's like, well, actually, now you're taking a jab. All of a sudden, the weight's coming off, and actually, it's just down to what you're putting in your mouth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of, I guess it's nice that you don't have that food anxiety anymore. So you can actually not think about food too much. I think that's half people's problem is they're worrying about their next meal or.
Yeah.
And also forever, like, I don't know about like when you were growing up, but it's almost like you've got to finish your dinner, you've got to eat everything on your plate.
Yeah, well, that's old school,
So you're
isn't it? Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
almost programmed to eat everything because
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah, where your next meal is
Yeah.
going to come from. Well, I mean, my dad especially used to say all the time, you're going to just eat that. Have some bread. Have some bread with it. Have some bread with it to fill up, because that was the mentality was. Well, you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, so
Yeah,
fill
yeah.
up on that. Because,
But now today you've got delivery, mate, 5 minutes.
Exactly. Those days kind of thankfully are gone, where you don't know where your next meal's coming from.
There are other deliveries.
Yeah, yeah. All the deliveries available. Yeah. So what we're basically looking at today is how this works, and we've just kind of spoke briefly about that. Whether it's something that's going to be around for a while, and is it good for you? The interesting thing is there's more and more research coming through about this, about how it helps really control blood sugar, how it can actually even have some neuroprotective benefits, actually helping against dementia and things like that, which is crazy because all these other things are starting to pop up. Even things like protection for the kidneys, for diabetics can get big kidney problems, can't they? So this is supposed to be very good at protecting the kidneys. I don't understand how it does that, the pathway for that, but
Because you're eating less, your body has to process less.
well,
Essentially,
it could be.
If that's
It could just
I would
be
say
that
as
simple.
Basic as that, like.
And this
without
and there was
worrying
another.
about the rest. But
Yeah.
like, essentially, you are essentially eating less, so therefore you're not going to have insulin spikes because you're not eating enough, unless you're just eating sugar every time. But
I think the other thing is, it's a side effect really, but a positive side effect is a reduction of fatty liver disease. Non-alcohol fatty liver disease, that is. Obviously, if you're alcoholic, you're going to get that. That's a separate mechanism. But so again, I think that's down to the fact that you are losing weight, so you're losing fat from the liver. So it's not what I'm saying is it's not the injection itself isn't
causing that.
that. It's not a causation thing. It's the fact that you are losing weight. Therefore, all these other benefits come along with it.
And that's why
which is a little bit misleading, don't you reckon? It's a little bit misleading because the way they're promoting it, it's like this drug does this, but it doesn't. All it does is it's promoting you to lose fat and weight, which then you're going to get all the benefits that go along with it, with the stuff we've been talking about for donkey's years.
Yeah.
So
and obviously, you're going to be your reduces your appetite anyway. So essentially, if you slept better and ate better, your appetite would go down. But yeah, we've already done, I think, countless stuff on that.
Yeah.
how to reduce your appetite. I think that's always been a big player with the protein is reducing the appetite. And then, I think.
Well, there was a headline that I wanted to talk about, which I thought was quite interesting.
There are lots of benefits to it, but I think the main benefit is just eating less.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But there was a bit of a curveball thrown in an article I read the other day in the Week, which was all about how they did a study. I've got the numbers here. There was 6,370 adults involved in this study, and it was all about weight loss medicines. And they looked at Wegovy and Mounjaro, which are both the leading kind of suppliers, both the leading brands. Typically, the patients lost 8 kilograms only to return to their original weight within 10 months of stopping the treatment. So it just shows you this is down to the drug changing, how you perceive appetite, and nothing to do with how your body, how your lifestyle, lifestyle changes. So in other words, the problems are still there. As soon as the drug stops, the problems come back. So again, this is not a sustainable thing, as it is. There was other drugs which had a higher increase of fat loss. There was 16 kilograms on average, but then they gained 10 kilograms of that back within a year, and also they think they would have gained the whole lot back within 18 months. So this is, it's a faster way of dieting, but then, and as you said earlier, then the problem is you lose muscle as well. So when you then gain weight back, you gain a high percentage.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get more fat back.
Yeah. And I was just quickly reading there about Ozempic and Mounjaro, like within 9 to 12 months basically back. So if you're not changing the habits, you're not going to be changing. You're not going to be basically keeping the weight off essentially.
Yeah. So higher protein is going to help, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if we want to minimise the muscle loss when you're taking it, there's a couple of things that are worth doing. So obviously upping your protein, like you said, weight training would be super important to keep that going. So if you're just sat there, using the drug just to get the calories down by killing your appetite, then that's great. But you should be exercising as well. I think there's probably quite a few people who are not exercising. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think for like bone density as well, and muscle mass, balance, coordination, you need muscle mass. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when they get a little bit older. But also, I think the Ozempic is speeding up the process of muscle loss, and they're doing less because they feel like they don't need to do less, and then they're getting weaker and weaker. So yeah, I think the most important thing is your resistance training as number one, and making sure your diet is actually, the stuff you're eating is nutritious, because you're going to be so low on nutrients that you're going to need to make sure what you do eat is nutritious essentially. Otherwise you're going to be low in all your nutrients, and you're going to be basically living off nothing if you are literally just cutting out stuff. I think that's where people get that skinny face from.
Yeah.
Like the lack of muscle mass, but also they're just not actually eating enough, and it's basically just not eating and not training.
Yeah, I mean that was the conclusion of this this study they did was Professor Susan Jebb, she was the lady in charge.
Susan Jebb.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
In the style of Borat.
Yeah, it just sounded like one of those names.
It just came out Borat. She's all right. She speculates that unlike those who have stuck to a slimming diet, people who take weight loss jabs don't make the lifestyle changes required to keep the weight off. So, unfortunately, the bad news for everyone out there who are taking this is that it isn't a quick fix. So you are going to have to face up to the fact that unless you want to take this for the rest of your life. And let's face it. Do you know much about the costs?
I think.
I've heard about 140 quid a month
Yeah. So
if you're doing it privately.
I've heard people basically lying on their BMIs.
Yes.
And someone said to me today that they've recently imposed you have to put a photo up of yourself now as well.
Oh, really?
So before it used to just be data, whereas now it's photos.
Wow.
And it's I've heard anywhere from 140 to 175 a month.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What I've heard as well. But the awful thing I heard the other day is there's been cases of people gaining weight to get on it. I mean,
A bit like Homer Simpson in that flowery dress, when he has to go super obese to get the benefits. And he had to wear that flower dress.
there was a case in the paper the other day I was reading, and somebody actually was just under the mark, where you can get Wegovy on NHS, so they gained like half a stone to do it.
Well,
Brilliant. What could possibly go wrong with that?
That is the positive thing about the NHS prescribing is it's difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas all these private prescriptions, from what I understand, is you just lie on the test.
Yeah.
And now
They'll give you a
people
prescription.
people use body morphing apps already, so they probably just morph their body.
Yeah.
Make themselves look fatter. And lie that way. So the people that I know that have told me their friends are taking it are doing it the private route because it's easier. Whereas the NHS, you have to be like super morbidly obese and type 2 diabetic, I think, from the last time I looked. But yeah, privately, you don't have. You just have to come into the BMI scale and be obese.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the registered. Well, there's quite a few actually, but it's pretty well tolerated. But there are side effects. Quite a lot of people just cannot get on with it at all, and they just end up being nauseous the whole time, vomiting, diarrhea, which all sounds lovely, doesn't it? So if you're,
I lost loads of weight.
yeah,
I was on the
shat
toilet.
myself thin.
I was on the toilet for so long I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, you couldn't keep anything down. Yeah, shock. It'd be like just have a dodgy virus. You have the same thing.
Yeah.
But so it's not for everyone anyway, because you do get some quite horrible side effects, but it's relatively well tolerated, so they reckon. So most people do get on okay with it. So if you're willing to take it, I mean, I don't know. The one thing I've not heard about is how long they recommend you should take it for.
2 years.
Oh right, you heard that.
2
Oh,
years.
cool. 2 years.
2 years is like your limit, they reckon. But I don't know if that's because the studies haven't gone on longer or they just don't know. Because there's lots of things keep coming up. Like I've seen stuff about people going blind, getting like diabetic retinopathy. I was telling you about the suicidal one.
Yeah,
the other day.
tell everybody about that. Like, 'cause that's actually quite grim. But
So actually, like one of the top concerns is like mental health conditions, namely depression, because it puts you off your food. They don't know if it's putting people off of all activities or all things they do. So actually, they have no interest in doing other stuff. It's not just the food they're losing interest in. And then on, let me quickly find it on the, on.
so in other words, it not only kills your appetite, but it kills your interest in
Yeah.
in anything.
And that's something to watch out for because they don't actually know. There's a link between dopamine and serotonin with it, but they're not sure the real reason that it happens yet.
Okay.
But on two.
So you don't get that serotonin dopamine hit after you do when you eat, like you do.
Yeah, because you're not interested in food. It doesn't do anything for you.
Right.
But correct me if I'm wrong. You might still get that. I've not been on it, so I don't know. But yeah, on 2 of the trials, the Ozempic and Wegovy, there was 2 people killed themselves in both from serious depression.
Wow.
I think the risk of serious depression is only, I say only lightly, is 5 to 10%. But still, if you're that way inclined, if you're depressed already, it could potentially push you over the edge.
Yeah.
Obviously, these studies done on thousands of people, so it's not a massive. They go, that's fine to prescribe because it's not. I mean, if 10,000 people killing themselves, it'd be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there is some link to cause people with a history of depression to become more depressed.
Right.
And lose interest in stuff. And yeah, so a couple of the trials, people did actually kill themselves, and people had suicidal tendencies. But yeah, looking here, it's 0.4% of patients. But considering how many patients are probably on the trials and how many people are doing it, 0.4% is still quite a good number.
If you
in my eyes.
extrapolate that out over
Yeah.
This is additional to what people would normally do, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it's not a massive risk, but it's something to think about, especially
If you think
if
you're a
you
bit
are,
liable to,
yeah,
to have challenged
yeah,
mental health issues or a challenge like that,
yeah,
could be definitely worth thinking about. Maybe it's not the drug for you.
yeah. And then the vision loss is under Ozempic. It was documented in one of the trials, and people basically, if you've got a heart, I think it was people that had type 2 diabetes had a higher risk of a diabetic retinopathy. Basically, your eye just decides to give up.
Right.
And there was one in America that saw. She lost her sight in one eye, thought it was nothing, went to bed, woke up, and couldn't see out of both eyes.
Oh, wow, imagine waking up like that. Jeez.
But again, that's on those people. They think that's due to sudden drops in your HbA1c. But if
And
you
that's a marker for your previous 3 months, isn't it?
if you've got a high HbA1c, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but basically that means you're pre-diabetic or diabetic.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it drops suddenly, that's when they're getting the eye problems.
Yeah.
So if you are type 2 diabetic and probably wear glasses and can't see very well, it's probably not a great thing to try.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. I mean, if it's making your life way better and you don't get any of those side effects, then great. Like I'm one of those people. I'm like, if it's making your life better, then great. But I think our what we're trying to do here is give you the downsides, the upsides, and everything in between.
Yeah,
There's definitely upsides to it, man. People are losing weight, feeling better, and then that's pushing them into exercise or do more and things. And actually, I think when people lose weight, it gives them their kickstart to eat better, and then
I suppose
there is good benefits.
It needs a big study afterwards, doesn't it, to see how many people gained the weight back on again and then did nothing after that. So it's kind of like a crash diet, isn't it? In a way, but only it's an injection crash diet.
It's forced diet, isn't it?
Forced, yeah.
You're forced to eat less and
Obviously, the effects is what I meant.
or not want to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like anything. If you stopped eating for a year or 2 years, you'd lose loads of weight.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. If you just stopped eating, it's doing the same because you would have less. You'd have less insulin spikes. You'd have less hunger. After a while of not eating, you just feel not hungry. But that's a mental battle rather than a forced battle with the injection.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, if you're not vomiting and sitting on the toilet all the time and it's making your life better, then go for it. You just got to understand the pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, you got to weight train. You've got to do some resistance. You can't get. That's one thing you can't. You can eat a shit diet. You can eat a crappy diet, but if you're not weight training,
yeah,
you're still going to be weak and fat. But if you're having a crappy diet and training, you can actually build muscle, get stronger, and hopefully that kick starts. But if you're having a great diet and not training, then you're going to lose weight, but you're just going to be skinny fat. So you always have to weight train or resistance train or exercise, whether that's climbing, hiking, doing weights or classes. You have to do something to build the muscle tone, build your strength up, and that in turn makes you feel more, I think, personally, being stronger and fitter makes people feel more confident. I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
I think that's the process. I don't think losing weight makes people feel more confident in as such. I think it does to start with, but then when they're skinny and they're still fat, like the bingo wings are still there, they haven't got like a toned stomach or arms or legs, their bum's still flat, then they just go, I've lost the weight, but I still look like a sack of shit.
Yeah.
That's because you actually haven't trained. So you have to have, what I'm trying to say is, you have to have the training as part of something, whether it's cycling, it doesn't have to be like dumbbells, but that's going to be your best form because you can sculpt your body. But if you're not doing anything, you're just sitting on the sofa, injecting yourself and not eating, you're still going to be fat, but smaller fat.
Yeah.
You're going to be skinny fat.
Yeah, exactly. And if you've been very obese before, then you're going to have a lot of excess skin, aren't you? Which isn't going to be a great look either. So, whereas if you can fill that, shape the body a little bit with muscle, then that effect is going to be less.
Coming back to that skin issue as well, lack of protein and not drinking enough water.
Yeah.
99% of people I first see, they just drink, they think, what's it like, I have 5 teas a day. Well, what water do you have? This in my tea. Yeah, but what, just general hydration do you give your body? You wonder why your face is not elastic anymore. It's because you're abusing it with alcohol and tea.
Tea abuse.
Well, like you know, when you
Yeah.
start hydrating, your skin looks better. You feel better.
Yeah.
You eat more protein. Your skin has more protein to build the
build,
elasticity.
yeah,
It
yeah.
can't. Yes, you lose elasticity as you get older, but actually you can prevent it a little bit by eating more protein and drinking more water.
Yeah. A bit of collagen.
Botox, baby.
Yeah. Right, should we look at creatine now?
Ooh, go on then.
So we looked at creatine because, again, it's been in the news a couple of times recently
If you're
about.
on Ozempic, get creatine as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, it links nicely. Smooth segue, mate.
Thanks.
So
Click
yeah,
the link below.
yeah. So there's been some links to creatine and cognitive function, so memory, and as a protection as well against things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, and actually traumatic brain injury. So from a crash or an accident or something like that helps. So I'm not exactly sure on because it gets very techie. But it helps the body resist against degeneration of the brain cells, basically. So that's quite new. It helps protect the neurons, oxidative stress. So if you're taking 5 grams a day, is what they recommend, 3 to 5 grams a day, you're going to get all of those benefits as well. There's also, I think, a knock-on effect from that probably with depression and mood disorders. It's more commonly women actually, because this seems to have helped more women than men.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure why that is.
Probably because men, I'm guessing, anecdotally, or no, is that the right word? I don't know. Because I'm guessing from my own brain that men eat more red meat.
Yeah.
I would guess. Out of men generally eat more meat. I'm guessing.
And those who are on antidepressants, apparently the creatine helps those work
Yeah.
as well. So you get a boost from that. So it seems to be one of those things that's definitely. I mean, it was always worth taking anyway, but
Yeah.
it's almost now like it's a open and shut case. Just it needs to be taken basically. Even things like the if you're looking down the road a little bit to when you age to sarcopenia. We've mentioned this a few times on the podcast now. Sarcopenia is muscle loss with age. So as you get older, you lose a percentage of muscle loss anyway. That just happens whether you like it or not, kind of thing. But you can mitigate that by, again, it sounds like we're just pushing weight training, but there's a reason we are, because it's fucking good. So weight training is like a catch-all for longevity. So it helps against sarcopenia, the creatine again, because it helps you build muscle. And that's again, it's what we talked about earlier with the benefits, the knock-on benefits of Ozempic is because you lose fat. Well, a lot of the knock-on effects and benefits with creatine are because you gain muscle.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So it's not the creatine itself per se that's doing it. It's the fact that it allows you to gain muscle,
And keep it. And if
keep
you have
it.
it, like preserve it as well. Like that's probably. I think as you get older as well, it's actually keeping your muscles a great thing.
Yeah,
As building
yeah,
it, like,
exactly.
Yeah, like when you're losing weight, if you can keep your muscle while losing weight, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Because the leaner you can stay, the higher your metabolic rate is going to be, which means it's easier to keep and stay lean.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
exactly. Yeah, and creatine is just like I always think it's so cheap as well.
Yeah, it's
like
it's dirt cheap.
You can put it in anything, and it
You can
like
stir it into your orange juice. You can just stick it in a protein shake.
it increases your strength and power, increases your muscle, improves your brain, helps preserve muscle mass, and it's super safe.
Well, that's the other thing.
If you want a magic bullet, there it is.
Yeah.
Like creatine, magic bullet.
Yeah, yeah.
Subscribe now, link here.
Yeah.
No, but it's true though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take it?
If this was a drug that was sold by pharmacists,
If this was released today, people would be all over it.
People would be all over it because the benefits are just numerous. So bone health as well. So that's something else that comes along with age. Is it helps bone density because again you get stronger, so you can train harder. Therefore, you get denser bones. And because of the resistance training as well, that's exactly how you build bone density, is by overloading the skeleton, makes the bones get denser, get thicker, hold on to the calcium, and
also, if you're having your blood test done, you might have raised creatinine levels, but if you let your doctor know that you're just taking creatine, that's fine. There's actually there's no evidence to support any kidney or liver damage or dysfunction.
No. In fact, that's an interesting one, because if you do have a blood test, you need to tell them that you're taking creatine, don't you? Because it'll flag up that you've got basically kind of almost kidney failure.
Gains.
Yeah. So it'll be an incorrect. It's not actually you've got kidney failure, but the blood test looks at a marker which is the same as a creatine kinase or something like that. Am I pronouncing that right?
Something like that.
And all that means is that the marker will light up like a fucking Christmas tree, as if you're about to go into kidney failure, but you're not. It's the fact that it's reading that marker, which is linked to your intake of creatine. So
if you're taking Ozempic or Mounjaro semaglutide, take creatine. If you're weight training, take creatine. If you're old, take creatine.
Yeah.
If you want to build muscle, take creatine.
Yeah. It's like spam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spam.
Yeah. If you want to improve your brain, take creatine.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah.
So stop asking me.
Yeah.
Just take it.
So I won't bring it up again. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I like talking about it, because I always think, like, actually, if you've not heard of it, you must have been living under a rock. So therefore, just not I'm going to lighten your life.
Or just not have been in a gym or in a gym environment, or not trained before, or you might even have never heard of it because you're not in that circle.
I remember I was training a 16-year-old once, and his dad come in and had a go at me for telling him to take it.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh.
I guess he thought it was a drug.
Yeah. Because I guess it, it could look like that.
Yeah.
White tablets, big powder.
Yeah, white powder in a bag. Yeah.
And
That's because there's quite a few different types of creatine, isn't there? But we're talking about creatine monohydrate generally, aren't we?
Essentially, creatine monohydrate is what all the studies are done on.
Yeah.
I personally don't like it. I like crealkaline. Okay. I know they say that you don't need the buffer stuff, but monohydrate, I always get a funny stomach. I don't know why.
Okay.
Sometimes some people may get gastrointestinal stress or funny stomach taking creatine, so I tend to go for like crealkaline, just because I know it's a buffered form and blah blah blah. It's a little bit more expensive, but I don't get that same stomach upset.
But you still get the same benefits.
Yeah. It's just the way it's processed is a little bit different, but you still get the creatine. Essentially, it's just another name for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't really like creatine monohydrate, but that's just personal preference.
Right. Okay. I don't think I don't recall ever having any issues with stomach from taking creatine.
I don't know if I have it now, but I've just never tried it again. So I used to get it when I was younger, and then I was like, I just have creatine. It's probably like another £5 or £10 a month or 2 months, whatever the package comes in.
Okay.
So it's not massively more expensive, but there is some out there that are like buffered creatine and other this like. I would literally go monohydrate if you can stomach it, crealkaline if you can't. Done.
Yeah. Cool. And just to be clear, there is plenty of creatine in meat anyway. So if you've got
red meat,
a decent amount of red meat in your diet, you're probably going to be less in need of this anyway. But it's one of those things. It can't help just to take a bit more. You might not need as much. You might not need as much as 5 grams a day. You could probably maintain on 2 or 3.
Who wants to maintain, bro?
Yeah. In the old days, it used to be loaded.
Like 15 grams a day
15 to 20 grams a day for 5 days, which was
split it up through the day.
And then you maintained it at 5 grams a day, didn't you? That was. But
you don't need to do that anymore.
I don't know whether that was because they just wanted you to go through a fucking tub of creatine like in a week and buy another one.
I remember trying to go to that muscle tech, cell tech. It was full of sugar and creatine, and I was like, just like holding my nose and getting it down.
It tasted disgusting.
Because I just wanted to be massive.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be massive. Please make me big.
Yeah. I remember I was about 12, and I was such a little geek, little not geek, not even a geek, not even that. I can't even say I was a geek. I was just a weed. I was a weed, and I remember going into a sports shop and seeing Joe Weider, right? Joe Weider's weight gain, right? And I literally thought, I had no idea what I thought. You just took a scoop of that and you'd get like gain a stone.
Pure gains.
Yeah, pure. I thought it was. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was going to save my pocket money to buy it,
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that you could just take a a scoop of that, and your worries would be
Joe
over.
Weider was a master in marketing.
He was, yeah.
Absolute
I mean,
master
it was egg and it was egg and milk powder. That's all it was. It was early days. There was a bit of flavour in it. It was just egg and milk powder, with a bit of sugar probably to make it taste better.
Well, I remember always going through like the mass gainers and stuff when I was younger. And it's literally, now you look at it, it's just pure sugar, loads of protein, loads
Fructose,
of
most of it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Fructose.
and then loads of oats.
Yeah.
Like, loads of oats in it. You can never get it down.
Do you remember? This is probably going back. God.
Mutant mass.
Yeah, but there was a battle of who could put the most calories in their drink. Do you remember? There was Mega Mass 2000.
Yeah.
It was 2,000 calories in one shake. Yeah, it came in a bucket.
Yeah.
2,000 calories in
like
one
a
shake. And of course it had 2,000 calories in it. The scoop was the size.
Yeah.
It was the size of a shovel.
It was like 300 gram scoop or something. I remember
It was like 10 servings
Yeah.
in a bucket.
I remember you'd have to get like like the super big protein shakers.
Yeah.
Like because you wouldn't fit in like the little ones.
No.
You know the
Well,
had the bottoms on.
But it would. It'd just fill it.
Yeah.
It would
And
fill
it'd
it.
be so thick, and you're trying to suck it out of the jar.
You need a spoon. You get a free spoon with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was gross. I mean, it just got...
Those were the days.
It started off with, remember Cybergenics? Remember Cybergenics?
Yeah.
Cybergenics were a company, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Cybergenics were a company that really, they mastered the before and after picture. They were done for it in the end. They were prosecuted for it because they hired a bodybuilder. What was his name? Franco Santorini. Frank Santorini or something like that. And he basically admitted afterwards he just took steroids the whole time and then stood there with a a glass of the shake saying that he took that and that's what did it. And he'd never even touched the stuff.
Yeah.
And so they did them in the end.
Well, that's what
British.
Weider done, because he owned all the bodybuilding federation. So if you come in the top 10, you were basically part of your entrance, and your contract, if you won, was to be part of his marketing.
Yeah, that's
marketing
right.
team.
Yeah.
So you had all like the top guys marketing for him.
Yeah.
That was absolutely great shape. Probably
Yeah.
none of them ever took it, or maybe
Yeah,
they did. I don't
yeah.
know. But yeah. So that's part of their contract in that.
Yeah, no, he was a
Arnold.
genius in that way. He knew how to flog his products.
Little bit of egg white.
Yeah, egg white and milk protein.
And we all brought into it.
Well, yeah. I don't know whether I actually ever did buy any Reader stuff in the end.
I don't think I did.
I think I got into it when the Cybergenics were doing their massive kind of like how much calories can we squeeze into this protein shake, and it was it was a battle then between all these stuff. And like you said, the muscle tech they got involved
muscle
and
tech.
it will just go insane.
That's why I don't get these hard gainers, mate. Like just get yourself a mass gainer,
Yeah.
bang that twice a day. That's 4,000 calories, and eat your meals around it.
Yeah, just get a meal in if you can.
Get over yourself. What do you mean it's hard to gain weight?
It's like that guy in the video just spitting his water out. Go to the fucking gym.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the fucking gym. That's basically what we're going to shout at for an hour.
Go to the gym, yeah.
Right, I think that about wraps it up, mate. We've covered the skinny jab and we've covered creatine. These are the new discoveries that are being made about it, rather than going into it too deeply. Because we've already kind of covered that. But I hope that was interesting. And as usual, please subscribe and
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and
Do whatever it takes.
Yeah, do it exactly. And put this out there. For, recommend it if you think anybody would be interested. And we'll see you next time. See you.
See ya.